They say your money is safe in the bank. They're lying. What if the very system designed to protect your wealth becomes its greatest destroyer? Right now, the whispers of economic instability are growing louder, and the specter of hyperinflation and societal collapse isn't just a distant historical echo. It's a very real concern for many. Today, we're not just going to talk about hypothetical doom, we're going to uncover the brutal truth about what happens when money loses all meaning, and more importantly, reveal the true assets that can shield your wealth and even help you thrive when the unimaginable unfolds. You'll learn exactly why your conventional investments could become worthless overnight, and what you absolutely must own to preserve your future. Imagine waking up, and the money in your wallet, the savings in your bank, the value of your bonds, it's all evaporating faster than a puddle in the desert sun. This isn't science fiction. It's the chilling reality of hyperinflation. We've seen it play out time and again, from the Weimar Republic in the 1920s, where wheelbarrows of cash couldn't buy a loaf of bread, to Zimbabwe in the 2000s, where trillion-dollar banknotes were barely worth the paper they were printed on. And today, nations like Venezuela offer a stark, contemporary lesson, where the cost of a cup of coffee could literally double by the time you finish drinking it. Hyperinflation is the catastrophic loss of a currency's purchasing power, often triggered by governments printing vast amounts of money to cover their debts, coupled with a complete collapse in public confidence in that currency. When people lose faith, they dump the currency, accelerating its freefall. This isn't just an economic crisis, it's a societal earthquake. As prices spiral out of control, businesses shutter, supply chains fracture, and the delicate fabric of civil society begins to fray. This is where collapse enters the picture. Not necessarily a Mad Max scenario overnight, but a gradual, agonizing breakdown of systems we take for granted. Financial institutions, social order, and even personal security. The cruel irony is that the very tools we are taught to rely on for wealth protection, bank accounts, government bonds, even many stocks, become utterly worthless in such an environment. Your life savings, meticulously built over decades, can be wiped out in weeks. The challenge then becomes incredibly clear. How do you protect what you have? How do you preserve your wealth when the traditional definition of wealth itself ceases to exist? You must redefine what asset truly means. This brings us to the core of the matter, identifying true assets. These are not just financial instruments, they are tangible, intrinsically valuable, and universally recognized stores of value that stand outside the whims of government printing presses. First, and perhaps most historically proven, are precious metals. Gold and silver have served as money for thousands of years, long before any central bank existed. They are finite, durable, divisible, and possess intrinsic value that cannot be created out of thin air. In times of hyperinflation, as fiat currencies plummet, gold and silver consistently hold or increase their purchasing power. Think of physical bullion, coins and bars held securely. Digital gold or silver certificates carry counterparty risk. This isn't about speculation, it's about preservation. They are a tangible anchor when the world drifts. Next, consider strategic real estate and land. But not just any real estate. We're talking about properties with fundamental utility. Ideally, those that are income-producing, self-sustaining, or strategically located. Agricultural land, for example, offers the ultimate intrinsic value, the ability to produce food. Properties with access to independent water sources, or those that can generate their own power, become incredibly valuable when public utilities falter. In a collapse, a well-maintained, defensible property, especially outside dense urban centers, becomes not just an asset, but a sanctuary. However, remember that property taxes and the ability to defend your holdings become significant considerations. Then we move to hard commodities. And here, I'm talking about essentials that people cannot live without: food, water, and energy sources. Long-term storable food supplies, grains, canned goods, dried foods are literally life-saving assets. The ability to purify water or access fresh sources becomes priceless. Fuel, firewood, and even alternative energy solutions like solar panels or generators will hold immense value. These aren't just investments. They are practical necessities that can be bartered or consumed, making them incredibly resilient stores of value in a dire situation. Think of it. When money is worthless, a sack of rice or a gallon of clean water is worth far more than a pile of devalued banknotes. Beyond the tangible, we must consider intangible assets, starting with skills and knowledge. In a truly fractured society, practical skills become the ultimate currency. Can you grow food, repair a generator, provide basic medical aid, build a shelter, offer security? These are skills that people will desperately need and pay dearly for, whether in surviving currency or in direct barter. Education in these areas is an investment that can never be seized or devalued. Your ability to do things, to create things, is an asset no government can print away. Closely related are community and networks. This often overlooked asset is perhaps the most powerful. Human beings are social creatures, and resilience is often found in numbers. A strong, trustworthy community, neighbors, friends, family, built on mutual respect, and cooperation provides security, shared resources, and collective problem-solving capabilities that no individual asset can match. When systems fail, social capital becomes paramount. The ability to trust and rely on those around you is an invaluable defense against chaos. Now, a quick word on certain digital assets. While the promise of decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is compelling as a hedge against fiat debasement, their utility in a far total societal collapse scenario remains questionable due to reliance on electricity and internet infrastructure. However, in scenarios of hyperinflation without total grid failure, Bitcoin's finite supply and decentralized nature make it a potential store of value against a collapsing fiat currency. It's a nuanced discussion, and for this video, we emphasize tangible assets as primary safe havens, with some digital assets as a secondary, more speculative hedge against currency collapse, rather than total system collapse. The shift in mindset is crucial here. We have been conditioned to see wealth through the lens of fiat currency and paper assets. But when that lens shatters, the true nature of value is revealed. It's not about how many zeros are in your bank account. It's about what you actually own that can sustain life, protect freedom, and maintain dignity. It's about moving from a system of abstract promises to one of undeniable intrinsic worth. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about intelligent, proactive preparation, understanding that history rhymes, and securing your future against predictable human folly. The time to assess your true assets, to pivot away from what might fail and towards what will endure, is not when the crisis hits, it is now. In a world increasingly vulnerable to hyperinflation and potential systemic collapse, relying solely on traditional financial instruments is a dangerous gamble. The true assets for wealth protection are tangible, physical precious metals, strategic real estate, hard commodities like food and water, and the invaluable intangible assets of practical skills and a robust community. These are the anchors that will hold firm when the monetary tides turn turbulent, offering not just financial security, but genuine resilience and peace of mind. Don't just survive, learn to thrive. Click the video on your screen now to discover the practical, immediate steps you can take to start securing these true assets today.